Hi everybody, hope you're well. This is my new Blup video, so this is going to be, I hope, a really comprehensive and easy to understand Blup tutorial. I have done ones in the past, and I think they've been a bit, difficult to follow, so what I'm hoping is this is going to be easier to follow, and it hopefully will be shorter. It will be a longer video, but it will not be cut up into pieces. It'll be one video, hopefully covering all of it. So to start with, I have got two horses that I'm going to use as examples for this. So, as you know, and I'm just going to quickly go into this first off. So, whenever you want to blup a horse, basically the reason you want to be able to blup a horse is because whenever you blup a horse, you want to achieve 100 blup. You want to be able to breed it and then produce better foals. So, having better blup on a horse is going to mean that it will pass on its genetic skills and its inborn skills to the foal. So the better the blup value, the better the foals you're usually going to get. Now obviously you need to consider what genetic potential you're working with, but we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to try and make sure that we have the blupping done correctly. So there are three parts to blup. So there's the skill gain. So this horse must have gained everything it can from training, rides, and competitions in its top three skills. Now what I mean by the top three skills is whenever you look on the genetics tab, and I'll quickly show you. So if you go to your horse, so say this was a horse you wanted to blup, you go down and you click on the genetics, and then you want to look at these 6 skills, and you can have a look here. So stamina, speed, dressage, gallop, trot, and jumping. You want to then identify which are the 3 highest ones out of this. Now on this particular occasion, we can see that that's dressage at 511. We can also see that stamina, 425, and gallop, which is 398 on this particular horse. So therefore we know that gallop, stamina, and dressage are the 3 skills that we're going to have to bold. We don't need to worry about speed on this horse, we don't need to worry about trot or jumping, because those 3 skills are lower than the other 3, so they're not going to affect the blup. Now you need to look at your horse, you need to look at those skills, and you need to figure out which are the best 3. So once you've done that, then write down those 3 skills so that you know what you need to do. So once you've looked at that and you know what your horse's genetic potential is, in the genetics tab, so the top 3 skills are the ones with the highest numbers, as I've just said. So once you have those, the aim is to bold those 3 skills. And as I've said, you need to do training, rides, and comps for those. Now the second thing is competition wins. So the horse must win 20 competitions. It can be any combination, any kind of competition, but it has to be first place. So it doesn't matter if you win 10 in dressage, and it doesn't matter if you win 5 in trot and then another 5 in jumping, as long as they're first place. If it's second, third, fourth, or fifth, it's not a win. So I'm not going to cover competition wins. I have loads of videos on how to win competitions without using fillers, or I probably will do more videos on how to win competitions in future, but I'm not going to cover this in the video because winning competitions is mostly down to luck. So, well, a certain amount of it. So we're not going to worry about that. And the last thing is the horse must be at least 10 years old. So whenever you blup a horse, the horse needs to reach 10 before it can achieve its maximum potential. There is a VIP perk to get it sooner, but we're not going to worry about that. So in terms of going on from that, right, I'm now going to show you what you need to be worried about next. So this is my visual guide. I'm hoping that this is going to hopefully explain this a little bit better than some of my previous videos where I was basically explaining most of it verbally. So as I said earlier, to bold the 3 skills, and this is what this video is going to focus on, is bolding those 3 skills, because that's usually the hardest part. You need to do rides. Rides are up here. You've got forest rides, you've got mountain, you've got beach. Beach have no effect on the blup value, so you don't need to worry about beach. The only 2 you need to be worried about is forest and mountain. The next part is the training. The training is the other part. And finally, competitions. Now, I'm not talking about competition wins, I'm talking about the skills that you gain from entering competitions. So you gain skills from doing rides, you gain skills from doing training, and you gain skills from entering competitions. Okay? So, what I will do is if I click on forest here, hold on, I'm going to pick a different horse as an example. This one will do. So when you click on forest rides, for example, 3 skills will come up underneath the energy: dressage, gallop, and jumping. So if I just bring up my guide here. So as you can see, and I'm just going to bring it over a little bit so you can kind of see them beside each other. So we're looking at forest rides right now. As you can see forest here, I've got dressage, gallop, and jumping in green. Those, no matter what breed of horse you're working with or what server you're on, it's the same. Forest gives you dressage skills, gallop skills, and jump skills. And the only time that it won't give you those skills, as you've seen with that horse that I showed you a minute ago, this one, when I clicked on it, nothing showed up. That means that they're done. I've completed, I've gathered all of those skills. There's no more skills in Forest for me to get. Basically, I've reached the maximum amount. The other way you can tell that, if you have the ability to, not everybody does, I think you have to have either, I think it's Pegasus account at least. So if I have a look here, you can see rides, and you can see that dressage, gallop, and jumping is complete, so therefore I know that forest rides are complete on this horse. If I go back, and hold on, I'll just catch this agent point, there we go. Mountain, now if I click on mountain, you can see that the skills do show up. That's because the skills haven't been completed, and I haven't gathered all the skills from mountain on this horse. Now, looking at mountain, mountain is stamina, speed, and trot. As you can see, it's speed, stamina, trot. And I've highlighted in orange here, so you can see in this column, that's what it gains you. And it doesn't matter if you're blopping in the Western style or the classical, it's the exact same. Forest and mountain rides do not change. They're the same. Now, if you have seen my video on picking competitions for your breed of horse, it will go into huge detail on these boxes here, these specific boxes. So I'm going to kind of bring this all together in a little bit. Now, in terms of training, so say for example, right, we're not going to worry for rides for the moment. We're just going to look at training now. Training is the most straightforward part of blopping. Stamina, stamina. Speed, speed. Dressage, dressage. Gallop, gallop, trot, trot, jump, jump. If you add on skills to gallop, you get more skills in gallop. It's as simple as that. The training part is probably the most simple part. And a lot of people train their horse, don't do rides or competitions, and then wonder why their horse isn't bolded. That's because you need all three of these things, all three, to complete it. You can't just do the training and then expect your skills to bold. So if I'm going to unbold those for the moment, because I think this might actually help. So in terms of the competitions, and I explained this in my video on competitions and picking for the specific ones, you might be wondering what these ticks mean. If you have a look, just pay attention to this barrel competition, for example. Stamina, speed, and gallop are basically ticked, meaning that competition gathers those skills. And the reason I know this is because if you click on any type of competition at all, in this very, very top box, you'll see those. Whatever three skills are listed there are the three skills that you gain from that competition. Okay? Now, eventually you will not gain any more. It's usually about 24, 25 competitions it takes to enter to get all the skills from a particular competition type. Now, you can enter different competitions and still gain skills, but only up to a certain point. Because if you've only 200 skills to earn in stamina from competitions, you could enter, for example, all these three, okay? You could enter, or sorry, all these four. You could enter barrel, cutting and reining, and Western pleasure. You would gain stamina from those competitions, but you wouldn't continue to do just because you got all the stamina. Whenever you get all the stamina skills in competitions, you can't gain more. So there's no need, like if I did barrel competitions to gain stamina and I continuously entered barrel until I couldn't get any more stamina skills, if I switched to cutting and started entering cutting, I wouldn't get more stamina because I would have completed them when I gathered them all in barrel. But you could do a mix of competitions and be gaining them, but you will reach a point where you can't get any more. So don't get confused and think that you have to do all four of these to gain stamina. That's not the case. You could do a mix of them if you wanted, but once you gain all of the possible skills from competitions for a certain skill, that's it. So you can click on loads of different competition types, have a look and see. Hold on, I'll go to my classical example. Classical is the exact same. I just showed you a Western one, but just click on show jumping. As you can see, there's 3 skills there that will be gained from show jumping competitions. So let's go back to our horse from the start, this one. The one that we identified that had stamina, gallop, and dressage as its best skills. So we're going to write these down. So what I would advise you to do is once you have your horse and you identify what 3 best skills are, is write them down. So this is for our example. Your horse might be different, okay? But this will work for whatever breed you're using. So what we want to do is we want to highlight. So let's highlight this. So stamina, dressage, and gallop. So we've highlighted the 3. So this is the horse. So the 3 skills that you want to get are highlighted in pink, okay? So this is the one for your horse, okay? So you can say stamina, dressage, gallop. So the first thing that's really obvious is the training. You're just going to have to do stamina, dressage, and gallop training, okay? So let's just go back to, we'll go to this wee horse, but just pretend that this horse is this one. It's just this one's not old enough to open up the stuff. So what we'd be able to say is, okay, we need to do the stamina training. So you do the stamina training until it says training is finished. And you do the exact same for dressage, and you do the exact same for gallop. And then you know, right, we've done the training. That's box 1 ticked. The next thing is we look at the rides and we say, okay, there's one thing that's very obvious right now, is if I do forest, I gain dressage and I gain gallop, but I'm missing stamina. So I'm going to have to do mountain rides. So you would know that you're going to have to do mountain. You're going to have to do forest as well to gain those skills. So that means you're going to have to do 2 different types of rides. Now some horses, some horse breeds, you'll not have to. You could maybe do forest or mountain depending on what 3 skills. So if you had a horse that was best in stamina, speed, and trot, then you just have to do mountain. If you had a horse that was best in dressage, gallop, and jump, then you'd only have to do forest. But on this occasion with this horse, what we have figured out is we're going to have to do mountain and forest to bolt. Now, the next thing is we look at the competitions. So looking at the competitions, we can identify something very, very quickly. If we look at reining, you can see that if we enter reining with this horse, we'll get stamina, we'll get dressage, we'll get gallop. So what we could say is, right, I trained it in stamina, I trained it in dressage and gallop. I did all the forest rides until they didn't get me any more skills. I did mountain rides until it didn't get any more skills. Then all you'd actually have to do is enter reining, and it would bold the horse. Now, it's not to say that you couldn't do some of these other competitions instead, but you'd have to pick a different combination. So let's just, for example, show you. So if I have a look here, you can see the barrel gives us stamina and gallop, and trail would give us dressage. So you could do trail and barrel if you wanted, but you'd have to do about 25 barrel competitions and about 25 trail competitions, where you could just do 25 reining competitions and get all of them in one go. So that's what you want to be thinking about. So that is how you would do that. Now, I'm going to pick a different example and I'm going to look at classical. So let's pick a different example. Okay. So here we've got a horse with stamina, gallop, and speed as its best skills. Okay. So stamina, speed, and gallop. So looking at that, what we can see is, and I'll just open this up again so you can see the side here. We're going to have to do stamina training, we're going to have to do speed training until it's complete, we're going to have to do gallop training until it's complete. And in terms of rides, we're going to have to do forest rides, because there's 1 skill within forest that we need. We're going to have to do mountain rides because there's 2 skills within mountain rides that we need. Now looking at the classical competitions, you can see that there's no competition that will give us all 3. So we're going to have to do a mixture. We could do gallop, for example, and do cross country, and those there would give us those three skills that we need: the speed, the gallop, and the stamina. So that's how you would figure that out. Now let's going to see if I can find, there's another type of horse that I'd like to show you, because I'd just like to show you for the example. So let's have a look here. So here we've got another horse, and let's have a look at the skills. So we've got trot is its best, trot, stamina, and speed. So let's just unhighlight all of that. So stamina and speed and trot. For this horse. So there you can have, there's an example of a horse that only requires one type of ride. So this particular horse, you wouldn't need to do any, oh, hold on, I'm just going to go back because I want to open up just the side here to show you. So for that horse that we saw a moment ago, for stamina, speed and trot, no forest rides are required, because forest rides are dressage, gallop, and jump. None of those skills are needed. So you would say, I don't have to do forest rides, I just have to do mountain. And then you would pick the competitions that suit for that and go along with those and do those. So one of the things that you can do is, and I do advise this because I think it's a good thing to do, is if you are sort of worried that maybe you are maybe not blupping in the best way, for let's just show for an example, what you can do is you might decide that you're a bit worried that maybe blupping in a different style would be better. So maybe you've been blupping Western, you think maybe classical would be better to suit my horse. The best way to do it, in my honest opinion, is just to then, like, let's go with this original example, so the stamina, dressage, and the gallop, and we'll highlight this. So having a look at that, you can get an idea of whether or not it would be more suitable. So one of the things that you could be taking into consideration is that, okay, the mountain and the forest isn't to worry about because it's the exact same. So we don't need to worry about forest. Training is the exact same, no matter whether it's Western or classical for this example, okay? So, and it's the same with everything. The training and the rides are always the same, and you don't need to worry so much about them. They're straightforward and they're not too difficult. The forest and the mountain rides, never change. The training never changes, as you can say, stamina for stamina, dressage for dressage, gallop for gallop, So you don't need to worry like that. The competitions are where it's a little bit more complicated, perhaps. So this particular horse that we've got, that we've highlighted, well, we've been blupping it in Western style, so we have a look and we compare it to the classical version of doing it. And one thing you can say is there's no competition in classical that we can do one of and get all three skills, but Western we can, so we can sort of work out from that. And maybe it's best to blup this horse in Western because it might save us agent points, save us time, have to enter fewer competitions, and so forth. So that's kind of a general overview of this. I hope these visual guides are helpful. If you need to see them, go to my EC page on UK or on my presentation page on UK. I'm fine with people copying them and saving them to their own pages as long as I'm credited. That's absolutely fine. So I hope that was helpful, guys. And if you have any questions, do shoot them up. I know this is probably one of the most complicated things to understand, but my honest opinion is, write down, look at your horse's genetic tab. Write down the 3 skills that you need, whatever they are. Get yourself a little table like this and have a look, because it's easier to understand, I think, than writing it out. I have a lot of written guides and stuff, but I think this is maybe easier to understand, and I hope this is I'm testing this out to see if it's easier. Anyway, guys, hope you have a lovely day, and bye-bye.